All right, well, thank you everybody for attending today, our service delivery enablement overview. Just wanted to offer a few introductions for the panel today. My name is Tim Weaver. I'm a senior manager here in our continuous value services practice, also known as CVS. I've been in the HRIS space for a little over 10 years, and my experience at Collaborative is just over 5 years. I am based out of central Pennsylvania, around Harrisburg area, and I'll kick it over to Justin for next introduction.
Howdy, y'all. My name is Justin Gorman. I'm a senior manager in our financials post-production support practice, CVS, and I'm based out of St. Louis, Missouri, if you can't tell from the howdy, and I'm excited to talk to y'all about SD today. Flynn?
Hi, I'm Flynn Ordonez, based in Manila, Philippines, and I am the manager for HCM services in our Global Delivery Center. I have 5 years of Workday experience, and I've been with Collaborative Solution for 3 years now.
Thanks, guys. All right, just a brief agenda here. I wanted to just give you what's ahead. I'll go through the overview of Collaborative Solutions and a little bit about the customer roadmap and journey. And then I'll hand it over to Justin and Flynn to talk through more details around our service delivery enablement and building our engagement with you, and then bring it back under next steps with myself to close this out. All right, so many of you have been with us for quite some time, and some of you are newer, but just wanted to highlight the slide here and a couple of things to call out. Just to say we have now over 800 plus Workday customers that we've been deployed with. We still manage that 98% customer satisfaction, which is something that we pride ourselves on and want to continue. We also just deployed over 125 countries. We have that global experience and also the knowledge and experience to work in a global setting. Just real quick, the Workday tenure there on the bottom, number 26 and number 3, we have been the longest Workday partner, partnering with Workday. We're 26th of their HCM customer, and we were their number 3 financials customer. So we do have that long experience with Workday in the ecosystem. Finally, just a couple notes here on our strategic partnerships on the side there. We're partnering with a few vendors to help really maximize Workday for us, for our customers. Automation Anywhere, Phenom, Utmost, and Applin are just a few that are listed there that really, again, maximizing Workday to the best of its advantages with all these partnerships and strategy. Finally, along the bottom, just some best workplace awards that we've gathered over the years, and really just a testament to our culture here and our consultants. And we feel that having engaged consultants and people that are loving to come to work is translating to great customer service and really continuity over time with our customers. All right, so some office location deployment and support coverage here, just to call out. We are now at 8 offices in the US and 1 in Canada, which makes up our Americas office, over 650 consultants. Our EMEA offices are at 125 consultants and offices in London and Dublin. And our APAC region has 125 plus consultants in locations in Australia, New Zealand, and Philippines. So we do have that global presence. We have follow the sun support, and we can be working on support 24/7 for our customers. When lights are out in Americas, we have Flynn and his teams working on things in Asia Pacific. So again, that global model, that global presence, and that continuity over time every day with you guys as customers. All right. So our customer journey roadmap here, really we want to call out that we all know that you guys are at different places in your journey with Workday, and this map looks like it is somewhat linear with a road and step to step. But we know that depending on where you're at with your Workday journey, you could be on any one of these numbers on the slide. So if you're first of all working in the onboarding and stabilization stage, you're brand new to Workday perhaps, there are some services there that we can offer you. We've also found that, if you're later in your journey, you've been through a couple of different things, but you're now up against, optimization and maximizing certain areas, or maybe a phase 2 rollout. We can support you there. So we've built this service delivery enablement to tackle all of that, no matter where you're at on this journey. So Justin and Flynn are going to go through some more specifics, like our feature releases and annual event support, things that we can do around strategy, our tenant analysis and plan. So depending, again, where you're at on this map, we have the services that can help you there. You'll see a lot of those listed there under the numbers. So we'll go into more details about what they are as we progress. All right, I'll hand it over to Justin just to talk through some more details about service delivery enablement as an overview as a whole, with some goals and our pillars and a couple of the package components, and Flynn will take it from there after Justin's all done. Justin.
Thanks, Tim. So service delivery enablement is probably one of the most exciting things that I've seen come out of our CVS practice. So the reason why I'm so excited about it and what this offering means is that it's sort of a collection of all the things that we've seen from some of our past customers. So we've got a large breadth of different tickets that have come through, and this is sort of a correlation to deliver a lot of those things that were consistently being asked for. When we talk about year-end type processes, tax time, stuff like that, there's a lot of consistent questions that we get. So we're trying to provide better, faster, more accurate service to you guys for customers. And we've sort of broken it up into 5 pillars. So I'm going to cover customer experience management, advisory and optimization consulting, and release management. I'm going to throw it over to Flynn to talk about reportings and integration management and Workday support. But one of the first ones that I really wanted to give a gander to is this customer experience management. So for those of you guys that are current customers, you're well aware that you've got you've got your client partner, you've got your engagement manager, and then likewise you've got sort of that transition from phase 1 to CVS if you are an initial one of our phase 1 customers. And the reason why that is so important is because we have that really in-depth KT where we talk with your implementation consultants. We fill out this thing we call a transition workbook, and we take a look at what is really unique about your configuration and what are the things that, hey, there's an opportunity for enhancement here. This is something that we really didn't get an opportunity to discuss or maybe deep dive into just because of a timeline with an implementation. We can take that information and then better serve you all in a post-production support atmosphere, which for me is something that continuity is really, really important, not just to you as maximizing your investment from a Workday perspective, but likewise from your end users, making sure that employee is self-type functionality is as clean and to the point as we can possibly make it. Likewise, I like to talk about the functional architect role. So this is something that a lot of our customers have worked with us with and said, hey, we would like to take sort of a holistic approach to how we're handling our Workday investment. So what are the things that we can do to optimize this in totality? Hey, we've got, 3 or 4 integrations running from a time tracking perspective, bring some of that time back in from a project, actually have my different end users going in, there's some comp plans and stuff like that we've really got to sync back up to here. What would it look like for us to implement time tracking, and what does that mean for our our total Workday ecosystem internally there within you as a customer? And that functional architect role is really going to help in taking that overarching conversation. What are the things we're going into? How does COVID affect what this particular process means? What can I do to maximize that investment? And that's really what that customer experience management pillar is talking about. We've got a couple more things about advisory and optimization and release management, but first things first, I really wanted to deep dive into what are the goals of the SDE. So if you go to the next slide, Tim. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to take all of those things that were consistently being asked for. What are the on-demand solutions that we know? Every single year, January 30th, I've got to get 1099s out the door. So we're coming up with a specific offering around 1099s that allows you to enable a faster, more prescriptive approach to support you through that Workday journey while delivering the same value add and likewise just building on what we already know you need. So if we know that we have to talk about what does 1042S codes look like, what happens whenever W2s, W3s go out the door, those year-end plannings are all things that are wrapped up into the SDE to deliver a better, more precise journey within your Workday ecosystem to drive value and to drive exactly what you're trying to do within that, within sort of your goals of that investment. And that's why I'm really excited about the SDE, just because, and I apologize, I do keep calling it the SDE, but it's Service Delivery Enablement. And for me, that just is really, really big for what we can do to maximize that investment. Next slide. So the market differentiators that we have within CVS are really around the holistic delivery management, strategic governance and partnership, and likewise taking that Workday thought leadership. So from when we talk about strategic government, this is something that we've kind of seen in the past as a pain point with a lot of customers. We've gone through different cycles of the Workday Workday. We've hit a couple of R1 and R2s. We've seen these Workday updates, and you invested a lot of time specifically within your implementation to get up and running with what you want your Workday to look like. So we've talked about sort of position consolidation or FDM management. What this strategic governance does is it helps you better manage those same driving principles that drove the implementation in the first place. So if the reason why you switched to Workday is so that you could take a broader, more holistic management model as to how you're operationally managing different departments or different regions within your organization, we can help you set up your governance in such a structure that drives home those same values and continues to deliver exactly what you want to see from that perspective. Holistic delivery management is really making sure that there's alignment from portfolio to your organization. So what are the things that you need? If you live in a global model, you have multiple offices throughout the world, we can deliver a 24/7, follow the sun support model. It's one of the things that we're really excited with our cohorts over in the GDC, and that user adoption to make sure that you might have your sort of primary Workday office domestically here in the US or maybe in London, but however, you've got users all over the world, and those people still need to be supported in their day-to-day operations, and this gives you a consistent delivery throughout that entire time zone. And likewise, we can escalate up based off of the type of issue or the type of pain point that we're seeing to make sure that you're meeting the most, and likewise getting the support for all of your different users as possible. Likewise, that Workday thought leadership. We always want to push you to go and own that. That's why KT is such a large portion of what we do in all of our tickets. And this is really just driving you as a customer to self-sufficiency, and then going back to optimize what are the things that we can do. There are different Workday updates coming down the line, things that we know are going to be a really value add to what it means for your Workday, for what you individually do as your investment. And so that Workday thought leadership is really us driving you to be self-sufficient in your day-to-day issues, and then come to us if there's something maybe you want to uptake, or maybe there's an opportunity to say implement advanced comp or implement inventory, near and dear to my heart. And that's really what we want to push you as customers to come back to us for. Next slide. So advisory and optimization consulting. So this really goes back to that first sort of pillar where we discuss what does it mean to sort of take an overarching look, that holistic value to what's going on in Workday at this period of time, and what does it mean specifically within your vertical? What does it specifically mean for you in your particular region of the world? So we've sort of aligned this into three separate things. So there's the governance workshop, there's the roadmap, which I'm a big fan of the roadmap, and we're going to talk quite about that here in a minute. And likewise, there's the user adoption diagnostics and best practice. So the governance workshop is something for me that is really cool, because as we talk about how much or what are the value adds for what you're getting out of Workday, what this can do is it can help drive those exact same lines of thought throughout the rest of your ongoing journey. So we talk about what are the things that we can do to continue to enforce those value adds? What are going to be some of the easy wins? Hey, I've noticed that we're seeing a lot of issues with manager self-service. So let's take a deep dive into what are the small wins, like maybe we do a little bit of a tenant assessment, and we walk through that governance to say, here's what we're trying to do, here's what we're trying to push for. And then likewise, it's changing that from here are the things that we can do, and here are the things that we can better service you by implementing here in a really, really quick and fast and efficient way. the roadmap. So this is something I personally am really, really excited about, because every single one of our customers gets adoption planning for free. So what adoption planning is, for those of you that don't know, is it is a way for you to track what are the ongoing annual events that you're seeing within your life cycle. And likewise, what are the things that we can go and uptake? So for example, we know open enrollment is in November every single year. We know that our fiscal year end is in July. And likewise, we know that we always give comp increases in March, right? So we can plan all of that information out and put it in a recurring value within Workday. We can show you what are the things that you need to plan for. Here are the different Workday updates coming down the line. I know I want to uptake a phase X, or possibly I want to implement some additional functionality that came out in the last release and I never had an opportunity to. And that roadmap can give you a holistic view of everything that you're trying to work on at this period of time and drive that value and say, what can I do to plan out that work? And it's completely free. That's the best part. Likewise, you can go in and you can push additional things coming in from like 2021 R1. As soon as that what's new report is released, you can go take a look exactly what's in there, say, oh man, that looks super cool. I'm going to push that to my backlog. That's something I definitely want to explore. I don't have time to work on it this year. It's setup required. However, I want to make sure I don't forget that. So there's an entire backlog of things that we can go in and say, here are the things we've wanted to work on. We didn't get a chance to do in the implementation, or it came out in the latest release and we just didn't get a chance to look at it. Let's go take a look at it. And then you can pull that from your backlog directly to your roadmap and then give you that really cool view of everything that's currently in scope and everything that you're currently working on. This way, it's an opportunity for you to drive what are the things that are going to give you immediate value add. And likewise, you can group things into different waves. So if I know that I've got, a couple of different projects running, let's say I'm doing a capital project enhancement, or maybe I'm building a new building and we've got kind of some things tied up there, you can create specific customer waves so that you can get that overarching timeline view across multiple years as to what it's needed. User adoption and best practice. This is something that I see people forget all the time. So we spent all this money on going through in our implementation, and we did a ton of research, and we did a ton of outreach and saying, hey, here's what's going to change. Here are the things that are really important. Here's how you go create an expense report. Here's how you go do your time. Here's how you go look at your paycheck, etc. But as soon as we go live, it's really, really easy to focus on the technical portions of Workday. What are the configurations that we need to fix? What are the break fix issues? And then not realize that there's additional value add we can drive by going to find out who's using Workday and how. Perfect example that I like to give for this. So we can actually go through and create diagnostics to pull the amount of time someone is logging into mobile, or how often is an expense report getting submitted from mobile, and take that information and say, hey, here's how many times it's logging in. Here's the sort of user adoption that we're seeing around this area. What can we do to increase that? So I've noticed that, maybe my surgery department, they submit more time on they submit more time on mobile compared to, say, my pathology department. Well, let's maybe do some research there. Is there a power user in surgery that's driving more of that value? And that's what some of our user adoption team can do, is it's sort of that pulse check as to how your employees are using your Workday investment and what are the things that are a pain point. Maybe there's some simple ESS stuff or maybe some help text that would save a lot of heartache. And our user adoption and our organizational change and training practice can really drive home some of that more personal soft skill needs that's going to make your employees and your employee population significantly happier. Next step. So I really like this slide because it shows just how complicated your first year and really every year moving forward can be in Workday. You've got different components within, that sort of strategy, your UAT diagnostics, all this stuff that we're looking down there in blue. You've got all the different annual events that are occurring. So we've got R1 and R2 that's about to drop. And then likewise, you've got end users logging cases the entire time. And then what else can we do? What else can we go and focus on at this period of time? And so this just shows you, here's where we can help. Here's where the SDE can fit into that. maybe you've been live for a while and you've recognized that you've got some pain points in manager self-service, or you've got some pain points in advanced comp. We can do a tenant analysis and plan. We can strategically say, what are the things that are going to be easy to knock out that's going to make this a hard value add, and we can drive additional value add based off of that. Likewise, if you look down there on some of those advisory and optimization, those end user adoptions and that targeted roadmap, this can give you that holistic view as to what people are working on and what can we do to drive Workday as an investment sooner, faster, and better. Next slide. So this slide is an example of some of that sort of user adoption tools that we have. So on the right, you're going to see a white paper. So that's sort of an overview of saying, here are the things that we found. Here's sort of our guided recommendations. And here's also how we can go and help do that, right? So if you don't have an organizational change and training staff, or maybe they're just really busy with a different release or something like that, we can help drive those changes that we outline and some of those best practices. Our entire OC&T team is Workday certified. They're all in the product all the time, just as much as we as implementers are. And because they have that implementer practice, they're also really, really intimately familiar with that. Another tool that we like to use is just a survey, right? So we'll craft some questions as to what are the pain points that people are currently seeing and what can we do to help make that a little bit easier for them, and we can drive that. Next slide. Annual event guidebooks. So if you've never been through a Workday release before, it is super, super overwhelming. Between that and year end, they come right after each other. So what we like to do before all that happens is we help with this annual event guidebook. Essentially, it's an outline of best practices for how are we doing 1099s, what does year-end payroll look like, what are some best practices around performance and merit increases. And it's just a relatively generic document that it can help push, okay, what are the things that I need to check? Okay, 1099s are there. I've got to go take a look at, well, what additional spend categories have I added in this period of time? Are they mapped to the right code? Okay, so now there's this new NEC 1099 thing going on. What's up with that? This guidebook just helps ease that transition a little bit. And if it's your first year-end close within Workday, this to me has been a lifesaver. These are sort of the questions that we always see getting asked. Next page. Release management. So year-end hits you, and then immediately the R1 comes up next. So we've come up with a couple of different offerings around release management that we found are really, really helpful for customers. So first things first, before even the what's new report gets dropped, we have the release preparation guide. So this gives you the important dates. Hey, when is the what's new going on? When do I need to get preview refreshed? Where does all this information live on community? It's that guide that says, here's everything that's going to happen within the next couple months. Here's some suggested dates around training. Here's some things that I can go and uptake now. And it just kind of refreshes all the steps that are going to occur for that release. The next one's the feature manual. So this is something that we go back to our teams and say, all right, let's go take a look at what's going on in this release. What are the things we're excited about? What are the things that we think, okay, maybe we could like work around this. This is something we can worry about a little bit later. And we talk about the things that we're really excited about. A perfect example is we take the top 10 from 2020 R1. My big thing was miscellaneous payment requests. Miscellaneous payment requests fit a really hard niche to fill within finance. Sometimes they're employees, but sometimes they're this weird non-employee population that's not quite a contingent worker, but they are a student. And we talk about what that setup looks like. We take the top 10, and then likewise, we just let you know what other features are out there. It just consolidates everything that's going on and lets you take a really quick peek as to what's going on within your specific functional areas. Then we do the detailed showcase. So we have the top 10, and then of those 10, we take 3 that we think are really, really cool and are going to be a value add to a lot of our customers, and we do a demo for them. It's a live demo. You can hop on, you can ask us questions. We can drive through the entire demo so you can see what it looks like. We talk a little bit about configuration. A lot of it is a little config heavy, so we don't go through the entire config for it. However, we do show what it looks like and what it does. And then that detailed showcase is generic to all of our customers within that functional area. So finance is pretty large. I picked the top 3, and for me, those are things that are really, really cool. However, we also have release reviews. So of those, if one of the things that you really wanted to see wasn't on there. So let's say, for example, equity pickup. If equity pickup wasn't on there, but you really wanted to see a demo of it, you can go through and choose, hey, I want to see all these releases in my tenant. You know, I've got a really interesting intercompany configuration. I want to see what happens with these new intercompany or these equity pickup rules. What does that mean? So these release reviews will actually go and we'll configure it in your tenant, document how that configuration looks so you can move it to production, or we can move it to production and show you, is this something that's going to be a value add specifically to you? And likewise, it doesn't necessarily have to be one of those detailed showcases, but it could also be, you know, if you're excited about miscellaneous payments, you want to see what the BP is, and you just don't have the time to take a look at it, we can 100% do that. Last and not least is something that has been asked for a ton, and I'm excited that it's here, is regression testing. So we can offer regression testing per module. We can come up with custom scripts specifically to what you need. And then that regression testing can help drive through a lot of the pain points and the time that you might have on your different releases. So for me, this is something that is really cool. We'll deliver the results as to what that test scenario did and what that test script means specifically for you. You can go back, you can hop into preview, see that transaction, see that it passed successfully, and we'll document all of that stuff and deliver it to you on a platter so you know you're ready to rock whenever it drops into production. Next slide. And now I'm going to throw it over to reports and integration with Flynn. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Justin. So I'd like to continue the conversation and touch on 3 incredibly impactful areas of our methodology: reporting, integrations management, and lean on hours. So first, we'll dive in both reporting and integrations management. Integrations and reporting are common areas for us to receive inquiries on. For reports, we implement the workforce analysis dashboard for you towards helping you understand your organization and their makeup. We also offer additional value with pre-configured dashboards, which will be touched on in a moment. From an integrations perspective, there are critical processes which occur on a daily basis. Ensuring their successful completion and being able to react with potential difficulties is important. Our team is equipped to perform health checks on existing integrations towards helping identify and isolate potential problems. Of course, we want to get ahead of them before they're problematic. With higher levels of our packages or as an ad hoc offering, we're also able to offer live integration monitoring, including monthly reviews of statuses and trends. Next slide, please. All right, so carrying on with live integration monitoring, on the screen, we have a little more information available for you. Our live monitoring includes either a twice or thrice daily review of your integrations. We not only review the data inside the tenant, but also act on it should there be a failure. This includes performing the steps to enter a ticket, investigating it, and inform you of the findings and action plan towards resolving it. By moving to a model of proactive support, we're able to alleviate a couple tasks you may commonly encounter. Next slide, please. Okay, so additionally, we create dashboards to help with the monitoring of integrations for your team by placing run results and statuses in an easy to find area. We're able to increase transparency and make it easier for both our team and yours to gather information. This leverages the reporting framework in Workday, creating opportunities for viewing data on a rolling 24-hour basis alongside drillable and detailed fields. So these metrics are not only easy to see, but they're also available on demand and click away in Workday. Next slide, please. So with respect to reporting, we do not stop at the integration dashboard. Our next enhancement is the addition of a workforce analysis dashboard, providing you key data on your workforce towards making educated decisions. As part of the package offerings or ad hoc, we also offer additional advanced dashboards for HCM, financials, or system administration for implementation. These are the popular advanced reporting dashboards, which include components of trended and scorecard-based reporting towards providing insight into how your business operates. Next slide, please. So finally, we want to touch on the main driver, Workday support. We've spoken a lot about the different pillars for service delivery enablement, and we have left the most familiar for last. When we talk about Workday support, we're referring to the as-needed lean-on hours, which you can pull from. So these hours can be used for most activities, whereas a lot of the other tasks are referred to more from a fixed perspective. Lean-on hours allows us to support you with the level of support necessary for your team. And those hours can be used in a variety of ways. So first, the hours are commonly used for break-fix analysis, whether it's troubleshooting an issue, guidance on day-to-day activities, or supporting your team. These hours can be leveraged in the traditional ways you're used to. These hours are also good for helping you with any new functionality. As Workday releases occur, we're providing support to you in those areas. What happens if you need help turning on things? If you need help turning things on, or need a couple hours to run through setup of a feature, these as-needed hours are a perfect fit. Integrations and reportings are areas we're seeing a sharp increase in support needed. Sometimes the hours are used for us to build or complete integrations. Other times they're used towards building a shell for you. It's commonly helpful to have a subject matter expert provide support in the area based on your level of need. They can also be used to help with other areas such as Prism, Adaptive, and People Analytics, which are newer in the ecosystem. We also perform optimization work and knowledge transfer on all items. The empowerment and teaching back to your team is a goal for us on each and every ticket. And finally, we can also leverage hours for organizational change, training, and strategy support. Configuration is only one step of the equation. Successful rollout and incorporation into your organization goals is another area we can provide value. So, with respect to hours, our goal is to provide the same level of service that you've come to expect and experience today. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Tim to provide an example of how all this information is structured together. Tim?
All right. Well, thanks, Flynn, and thank you, Justin, for your overview and kind of diving into the details there on each of those package components. Just wanted to look at one last piece here. It's not necessarily related to our service delivery enablement, but worth mentioning and talking through a couple of our key differentiators that we feel, offers a really value add as well to our services. So we've got a couple of things listed here. These tools were built specifically to help you with challenges that we have seen customers face in projects. So they've been developed with that in mind. There's a couple on here just worth mentioning. We've already talked about our organizational change and training and our reporting, advanced reporting dashboards, things of that nature. We also have a deployment methodology that we use, and we partnered with Workday on doing and how we're going to roll out new functionality for our customers. So that's been based on our experience with you guys over time. We've also have a lot of data conversion scripts and templates and things that we've used and that we can reuse. So a good example of that accelerated cloud deployment is a repository. So when we worked on things before and had successful solutions, we hold on to those so we can reuse those with customers and bring efficiencies and reduce deployment costs if it's something that we've done before that we can leverage. So again, these are just a couple of differentiators that we'd like to call out. If you have any questions on these tools and solution accelerators, definitely reach out to your engagement manager and get some more details on how we can use these to your advantage. Just overall, next steps, if you like what you've heard today and it's interesting and want to dive in a little bit deeper into some details, just reach out to your engagement manager or your client partner, and we can set up some time to walk through and answer any questions that you might have in this area or anything else that we've talked about today unrelated to SDE. But really love to hear from you. And again, thank you for joining today, and have a good rest of your day. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe.